sewing friends, I'm Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles, and today I have a really nice dress to show you, but I haven't told you what dress it is, right? So this is Burdastyle 7514. I will put the envelope photo here so you can see, and it's a dress that's out of print unfortunately, but I got mine from a pattern swap from Australia, and there's lots of places for you to get patterns that are out of print anyway. I chose a black crepe, and I chose to line it with just a regular cheap lining black fabric. So I will insert some line drawings here so you can see some of the features. Now it's a nicely fitted dress with lots and lots of shaping. It's got princess seams on the back and the front, and you can see that it's got two views. One is like has a shoulder and the other one just doesn't. I'm not up to that because I need to wear a bride all time, so I chose the view that has the asymmetric bit, but it has a strap there as well, sort of smaller, but it does cover your bra strap. Now I'm going to tell you about how this was sort of drafted so you can see where the lines come from. Now I'm going to put the picture here. On the front you can see that on one of the sides the princess seams come from the shoulder, and that is the narrower part of the neckline, the narrow strap. And on the other side you have that princess seam comes from the arm side, and that is the traditional place where they come, like in blouses and dresses, usually what you can see. Now they've sort of mashed both up together and created that asymmetric look on the front. Now on the back, I'll show you the line drawings. Both of the princess seams come from the shoulder seam. So it's a very interesting pattern, very interesting to cut out, to say the least. Very easily confused if you're not paying attention, and I mean that happened to me. What about the sizing? Well, I'm used to Burdastyle. I've been sewing from Burda magazines for years. I grew up sewing with them, and they don't have much ease on their drafting. So if it says that you're such a size and you make it, it's gonna fit you. It's not like the big four, although Burdastyle is considered a big four, but I actually don't group it in with the big four because it's way different drafting compared to McCall's or Simplicity or other things like that. So I'm a 46 in Burda. It's what I sew for myself from a magazine, and this is the size I chose here. And when I looked at the body measurements and the finished garment measurements, there was 2 inches of ease, bust, waist and hips. Now the way they draft the bust, the waist and the hips really matches my figure. Like I don't have to grade in between sizes. I'm usually just straight on one size of the charts, and so I didn't have to change anything. I just went out and cut the size 46, which in the US would be a 20. That's the largest size on this envelope. Now if I went and made a 20 on a McCall's or any other one, it would be swimming. I always go 2 sizes down on those, but for this one you can't do that. You have to make your size because the ease is going to be correct, you know. Okay, so this pattern has you cut out six pattern pieces, 3 for the front, 3 for the back, 1 center piece, 1 side and 1 side, and they're all different. So basically you have to open your fabric entirely, so you have 1 whole piece of fabric, and each of the pattern pieces is cut in a single layer, of course, because each pattern is unique. There's none that is like twice or repeated, you know what I mean? So I'm going to pop a picture here of the layout so you can see how I placed them, and I was able to place them right next to each other very nicely. I've made the largest size and I was able to fit them all across my 147 centimeter fabric, I believe, and I only used 1.1 meter, and that is the fabric requirement on the envelope. So I find that extremely honest. I mean, I'm sure for a dress like this in another pattern company it would have told you to buy like 3 meters or whatever, but actually you just need the length of it. So 1.1 meter, and I'm on the taller end. This pattern is drafted for 168 centimeters, so I'm taller than that, but still yeah, 1.1 meter is very, very fabric healthy. Or fabric starving, let's make up that word because it does not take up a lot of fabric. I'm going to tell you I cut the lining wrong. So because everything's asymmetric, you cut your main piece Then I just put my pattern pieces on the lining the same as I did on my main fabric, in the same way, like the pattern piece with the print looking at me, the print on the pattern, I'm saying. Well, that's wrong. And when I went to match my lining with my main fabric, it was all upside down. Like the narrow shoulder was on the other side, and yeah, it was just all wrong. So I had to unpick the whole thing, just unpick it, and then sew it the other way around. So just a tip, if you're making a lining for anything that's asymmetric, cut your pattern piece the other way around. So flip your pattern piece under so that the printed bit on the paper that says everything is on your wrong part of the fabric. Now if you do that, everything's gonna match, and that's what I had to do. So I know now, but at the time I was just like cutting, and I wasn't thinking, and of course I wasn't reading the pattern instructions because it does say there, you know. Okay, so let's hop and see a little bit of what I've done. As soon as I cut my pieces, I write what they are, and I put X and X there so I know that these two go together, and I put these little circles there to know that these go together. And as soon as I cut them out, I pin them together with just one pin just there. You know, I know these go together. I can put them aside, keep cutting, and when it's time to sew, it'll be really fast and I won't have to think. As you can see, the neckline is quite low, especially for this bra. With another bra, I might get away with raising it up about an inch to get a better fit on this neckline. I've sewn the entire dress. I made a size 46 on Burda. I didn't need to make any modifications at all with the fit. The fit is perfect. This is the front. You can see the princess seam there and asymmetrical neckline. Now this neckline here on the front is a tad low, because when I wear it, you can see my bra peeking out there for a little bit. So I'm gonna have to do something to my bra, but otherwise I'm too late to make modifications now. I've placed the lining and the dress right sides together. They are identical. And on this area here, I've just pressed the seams going in towards the center of my body, and I've done that for the lining and the main fabric in there, the crepe. And I'm just gonna sew around there, pivot, and then keep going like that. And I'll just sew around the whole. I'll do the same with the back. It's got the same shape. Flip it, understitch it, and then I'm just gonna unite these two together and pretend they're one piece. So there's a cap sleeve on one side and the other one doesn't, and I'm just gonna finish the ends with bias binding and fold that in and hand sew it. This is the dress inside out, not much to see. Looks quite messy from the inside. The lining fabric is not that great, but it does the job. I sewed on the neckline all the way around there, the main to the lining, flipped it, and then there's understitching there. Maybe you can see. Then I left the arm sides together, the main and the lining, and I basted them together. I treated them like one piece, and then put bias binding, but I sewed on the bias binding onto the lining so that on the right side of the dress, on the nice side, there's no visible stitching, but you have a finished hem in this case, so like arm side. So that is the way I chose to do that. Another tip, because it's all asymmetrical and you've got seams everywhere and shoulders, it's very easy to sew things the other way, especially if your fabric doesn't have a clear right and wrong like mine did. So I would suggest starting with the shoulder seams, matching those up, and then going from there, because it's really easy to swap it around and get confused. You know, these are things I'm thinking after I've done this. So this project taught me a lot of things of how to look at things that are asymmetric in the future. You know, I love asymmetry. I'm always looking to create it, and when I see it on something, I'm immediately drawn to things that are not the same. So I have my dress here. I'm gonna show it to you on the hanger first. So this is the narrow bit there that you saw in the line drawings. It covers my bra strap. You saw I had a bit of a fitting issue because I didn't know how low this was gonna hit, you know. So dirty fix that I do not recommend, but I mean it fixed my problem, is I just took up the shoulder seam a little bit, like I think a centimeter, and then on this side as well, which made this like go really high. It doesn't bother me, but you know, you do what you have to do. You know, I don't like wasting fabric. I just like making things and making them work no matter what. Now next time I make it, I know I need to modify this and just raise it an inch, little bit, taper that neckline there just a little bit for more coverage. And they go all the way down, you know, inside it's all the same. Now the instructions had you interface all this area, and I'll pop a picture here so you can see the drawing. They have you interface each pattern piece to stabilize the neckline. That replaces stay stitching and stabilizes. Now, did I do that? No. Should I have? Yes, I should have done that. But you know, I was in a rush. I didn't have black interfacing at that moment. I did not want to stick on white interfacing on my fabric because although it's not she, I think you would see it. The fabric is pretty stiff. I mean, it does hold up, you know, but it would be much better if I would have put the interfacing on it. I shall put it on and I'll be back in a second. So at the back, it also has that asymmetry there on the back. I think it's really nice. And on that side, it's sort of like a cap sleeve. It's one piece, there's no extra sleeve there, it's just one little piece there. As I said, I had to take up this to bring this up a little bit. So yeah, this is a bit snug, but I mean, still wearable. I can still wear it now. It's really nicely fitted to me. You can see it does all my shape. I made no modifications to the pattern. No sway back. I mean, the shaping at the back there with the darts incorporated into the seams was genius. I can't believe it. I mean, when I tried it on and it just fit me like a glove, I was so excited because this is the type of dress that I would want to draft for myself from my blog because I know I would get the right fit. But actually, this is like I would have drafted it from my blog. It fits me perfect. I am a C cup and the princess seam curve was perfect. There was no like smallness, or sometimes with other princess seams I have to take out and drape out a lot of excess when it says it's a C cup, but then if I make a B it's too small. I don't know. So I put the camera weird in another angle so you can see where it reaches. So the length is perfect for me. So another little spin there. Okay, so I am so happy with this dress that I'm going to be using this pattern to create hacks because it fits me so well. And I've got two patterns in one here. Like if I choose to just make this side of the dress and replicate it to that side or the other side, I can have different dresses. I can get rid of the asymmetry if I want to. So just be on the lookout for that. You'll be surely seeing this same dress soon, but totally different, but with the great shaping and the princess seams and all the fit and all of that. So yeah, that's all for me. If you can find this pattern somewhere and get it online, it's out of print, like you can't get it anymore, but if you see it somewhere, get it. It's amazing. I think it comes from sizes 36 to 46 European, 8 to 20 I believe, American sizing. Great pattern, awesome pattern. You know, just keep an eye out for that asymmetry business. Makes construction a little bit, you have to just think a little bit more. I had to unpick a bunch of stuff because I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, heads up. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Hit the bell so you don't miss when I upload a make. Bye.